Hello, everybody. It is Lisa Wells from Food, Fear and Freedom, helping you get your eating habits back on track and creating more consistent, healthy days for yourself. So, how are you feeling? Let's take a moment to close our eyes, connect to ourselves in our bodies. Take a deep breath in. Feel yourself in your chair. What are you noticing about how you're feeling? Are you feeling any tension anywhere? Is that the first decent breath you've taken all day? Just notice. That's all. That's all this is all about. We're just noticing. Thank you for being here. I love sharing this message of taking you from, maybe snacking at night time, binging in the afternoon, whatever it is. There's lots of ways we sort of overeat or don't kind of stick to our healthy eating. Most of the women I speak to, we all know what's healthy. We know what is a healthy food. And sometimes we might plan each week what we're going to eat. But then for some reason, we just don't stick to it. So I am the person that can help you stick to it. It's in the implementing of the plan. You can get a diet, you can get a health plan, healthy eating plan from anywhere. On the internet, there's millions of them. But it's in the implementing it and the sticking to it where we come unstuck. And that's where I help people move forward past these, this dieting roundabout and just the merry-go-round that we go on with food and all that sort of thing. So there's not one thing that I can tell you that will fix you. You don't need fixing anyway. But there are things that you can do every day, small, consistent daily actions that you can do that will start moving you towards where you want to go. It will start shifting that momentum of what's happening right now and creating new momentum for where you want to move forward. So, and how did I get to this place that I am able to do this? Well, I overcame 10 years of food addiction. Each day we have the opportunity to face our stuff or stuff our face. And I stuffed my face for a very long time. Each year I would go on the mental health plan, go to the doctor, get my 6 sessions of psychological help. And then within a week or so of each session, end up back on the couch. I think in a way it's because I was expecting that therapist or that psychologist to fix me. And so it wasn't until there was a big shift within me that I needed to do the work, because I used to ask the angels to help me. I would go to therapy, have healings, Reiki, hypnosis, so much stuff. But unless you're actually ready to do the work. And I remember that day, if you were with me, it was in winter about 4 or 5 years ago when I was in our lounge room just through there. And I intuitively received the message that I just needed to feel the discomfort instead of just pushing it down and ignoring it, stuffing it down with food. And I was really, really scared of what would happen if I allowed myself to feel what I was feeling. I was not used to doing that. Like a lot of people, were just not taught how to deal with our emotions. So I didn't even really know where to start. So I would just have to sit at the kitchen table and I would have my journal and my pen and my cup of hot broth or my cup of peppermint tea with me. And I had to really trust that I would be okay to do this, because I know the only other option was to keep stuffing my face. And I didn't want to go down that road anymore. I had had enough. I had ended up on the floor by the front door, just in a heap, crying because I didn't feel within me that I had any strength to overcome this. And I, at some point, accepted that perhaps this is who I am and who I will be for the rest of my life. And I didn't want to. And I was really, really sad and I was really, really upset. But living with that mental turmoil every day was awful. Each day I would wake up with such good intentions. But by the end of the day, those intentions were nowhere to be seen. At 3 o'clock in the afternoon, when I hit that chocolate aisle in the supermarket, where were those intentions then? They were nowhere, because I didn't have the foundations of inner strength and emotional resilience to help me get through this. And it's kind of something I learned on my own, I guess, through my own research and my own study and my own experiences. And I slowly built myself up to become someone who does have a health mindset instead of a weight loss mindset. Um, I know how to get back on track quicker if I happen to stray off my healthy eating plan. I don't spend days, weeks, or months beating myself up anymore. So, just a little intro about me and why I feel that I am extremely qualified. And I do help a lot of women get their eating habits back on track and creating more consistent, healthy days for themselves. And that's what it's about. There is no quick fix. You're not going to wake up tomorrow after watching this even and go, woohoo, I'm free. I'm healed. It's fantastic. You have to do the work every day. And it's not much, just a bit here and a little bit there, and you build up these foundations over time. You realize you do have the strength within you to say no to those things or those thoughts that are making you want to eat those foods, and you are able to deal with it so much easier and so much better. So basically what's happening at the moment, if you are, snacking at nighttime or binging in the afternoon or just eating, more than what you want to be eating, you're outsourcing your job of emotional stability to food. So you're allowing the food to deal with it. And it would have come from a time in your life when you probably had to make a decision. Perhaps there was a time in your life when you weren't safe about something. And your brain, your mind, its main job is to protect you and keep you safe. So it did its best in that period of time when you were feeling unsafe to be yourself, to be seen and to be heard. It had to make a decision at that point in time and possibly shut down all your emotions, and you learn how to deal with stuff through using food. And so we need to stop that program, pretend your brain is like a computer, and that is a computer program that's been running for a long time. So of course it makes sense that overnight or within a few weeks, it's not just going to reverse. You need to reprogram a new program into your brain, into your mind. You need to start believing in yourself again that you can do it and this is possible for you and you do deserve it. So the title of this webinar is how to get your scales to start saying, oh yes, instead of, oh crap. And this title came from a client that I was working with, and we've been working together for a couple of weeks. And she did struggle with the nighttime snacking, and we worked together and we would check in daily with each other, and she would let me know how she went every night. And if it was a success, we would celebrate. And if it didn't go to plan, then we would just put into action a fix. How do we fix this? What's really going on? Do we need to look deeper? Why didn't it work? Was your motivation not strong enough? Was your why not strong enough? Were you only at about a level of 5 or 6 in your commitment to getting through that night? And so, one day we were having a chat and this came up. She had jumped on the scales and they were lower than they had been for a while. And we just said, isn't that nice that the scales is going, oh yes, instead of, oh crap. So this stuff does really work. And to me, this is what should be addressed before diets and exercise come into it. The three things that will make you that triple threat in your health is your mindset, your nutrition, and your exercise. But if you're trying to do exercise and nutrition without the mindset, you're going to keep going around and around in circles. So to get those scales to start saying, oh yes, you really need to, so this is what I do with my clients. We work in 24-hour increments. You're just going to get through today. What can I do today? What can I do just for today? Is it possible for you to get through today being healthy, eating those things that you know are healthy? Is that possible? And if the answer is yes, then fantastic. And what level of commitment are you at with that? Because you need to really back yourself. You need to know that in those times of trouble, or, if something comes up, what are you going to do? Are you going to automatically reach for the chocolate, or are you going to take a few breaths? Are you going to kind of realize that whatever's happening, it might not even be about you. You might be making it about you, but maybe it's not really about you. So work in 24-hour increments. What can you do today? What's your commitment level for today? And say, for example, my trigger time was always after lunch. I had a pattern interrupt in place. So for 30 days, I said I would have an apple first. I said to myself, I can have anything I want. I'm just going to have an apple first. So what that does, you're training your brain, because we know restriction doesn't work. If I said to myself, well, no, I'm not having chocolate, I'm having an apple and that's it, I'm not eating chocolate, I'm just having an apple, I would rebel against that and I would end up stuffing my face even more. But allowing myself and training my brain to know that, hey, I can eat from this incredible smorgasbord of amazing, incredible food that's available out there, not just from the chocolate aisle, but from every aisle of the supermarket, you know. If I allow myself that, then my brain is going to cope better. There have been studies shown that if it's a bit sicko, but they were doing some studies and some tests, and people were being like having electric shocks in a chair, but there were two groups. One group had a button where they knew they could stop it at any time, and those people were actually able to tolerate more pain than the people who didn't have that sort of out button. So it's kind of like having an out button. Sorry, just adjusting my lighting. I think it's a bit harsh. So yeah, it's like having an out button. So training yourself to know that you can have anything you want. I'm just doing this first, okay? That's big, and that takes time, and it certainly wasn't perfect for me. It took months of training myself, conditioning my mind that this is what I now want to believe. So 30 days, I had an apple first, and it worked pretty well. It's a distraction method. It's increasing that time between having the thought of wanting the chocolate and the action of eating it. So I'm increasing that time, which means that neural pathway of wanting that chocolate is getting less and less. And I'm creating a new neural pathway for myself, which is I'm taking control back, and I'm actually saying, you know, when I will have chocolate, and not having my thoughts dictating that for me. So after the first 30 days, and then I would have an apple and a cup of peppermint tea first. So these strategies are really effective. And these are just the small things that you do each day that help you get to your ultimate goal of being healthy and being back in charge, healing that relationship with food and healing that relationship with yourself. So you can start implementing these into your life right now. 24-hour blocks. What's your motivation level every day? You have to motivate yourself. You have to condition your mind. This is what I want. And having that pattern interrupt. So there are 3 incredible techniques that you can start implementing today into your life to start. And they have nothing to do with food, really. So you're taking the focus off food, which is what we need to do, because, you know, living in my head as a food addict, that was all I was consumed with. What's my next meal? You know, am I going to do well today, or am I going to stuff up again today? You know, having those thoughts are not helpful at all. So start implementing these 3 things into your life, and let me know how it goes for you. Let me know which one's your favorite. Let me know how it's going. Give it 30 days. You've got to give these things time to work. You're not going to get up tomorrow, like I said, and execute it perfectly, because a lot of the time we forget. And remembering, and that's why repetition is so important on this journey. Being kind to yourself if you do forget. It's okay. What do you need to do to remember? Maybe put a note somewhere in the car or on your phone or on the fridge. How can you remember this a lot easier tomorrow? You know, so there's some little tips and tricks. So if you want more, if you really want the full package of how to get your eating habits back on track and start creating more consistent, healthy days for yourself, send me a message. Let me know. I'd love to have a chat with you, see if what I do will be a match for what you want. It's really important that I know that, because I don't take every single person that wants to work with me, because if you're not ready, it's not going to work for you. So I need to kind of see where you're at, what's been happening for you, what you've tried before. We need to make sure that working together will be a match anyway. So if you want some more info on that, just send me a message. Happy to have a chat with you. And thank you very much for joining in. And remember, if you have someone in your life that you feel might benefit from this, please share this. You could probably send it to them in a private message or tag them in the comments. And yeah, I really, really appreciate you being here. Thank you so much. And this is a new normal for me. So Thursdays at 12 p.m. Adelaide time. It's called Thursdays Food for Thought series. So normally I do them on Facebook Live, but I'm just trialing it, doing it webinar style for a while on Zoom, just to see if it's any better for us. Give me your feedback. I'd love to know what you prefer anyway. All right. Thank you so much for allowing me into your day. I really appreciate it. I hope you got a bit out of this. Well, you probably got a lot. And I'll talk to you soon. Thank you. Bye.